simplifying payment systems for fintech products. And yeah, that's it basically. I'm not going to be talking too deep or using too many fancy words so that we can, just, I mean, like the word implies simplifying. So don't expect to hear too many things. All right. So yeah, moving on. Please, if at any point in time you can't hear me, just let me know, and I would adjust. Okay. Cool. Yeah, my name is Wale Ajiboye, or you can call me Wale. And yeah, with all the chat GPT stuff that Esther read, look, it's fine. I've worked in payments all my career, and I'm happy doing it. And I was fortunate to work with NIBSS, Carbon, Aka Payments, First Bank, Reliance, and basically a lot of the core fintech products that you use today have in one way contributed to it. Talking about BVN, um, I agree is data harmonization, BVN data consent, identity verification, IDRS, like a lot of NIBSS and CBN projects for fintech. I've been privileged to work in that capacity, and it helped me to broaden my understanding of everything, which is why I'm here to share what I know. I'm only going to share what I know. If I don't know it, I'll tell you that I don't know it, so it's fine. And if I make a mistake, if you have a question, please, I'm open to learn. If you have a question and or something that isn't clear, please go ahead and ask, or if you feel it's a correction, please go ahead and say it. So yeah, I have an engineering background. I did civil engineering in school. I tried community building. I don't know where it's at, but let's see how it goes. I played table tennis. I like to swim and I can sing. And yeah, I play some instruments, I guess. Moving on. Life is not too interesting like that, but it's okay. So yeah, we're going to be talking about card payments, transaction flow, um, NIP, of course, the cost of card payments, and the future of payments. Very, very simple, basic stuff. Moving on. At the end of this session, just like it was said in the email, the expectation is for us to be able to distinguish between the key players in payments, in the card payment space, which is the issuer, acquirer, payments gateway, payments processor. I'm sure you'd have heard of all these things in times past. But yeah, we're here to simplify it. We're also going to be able to explain how these players interact with one another, in a typical payment transaction flow. We'll also talk about NIP, how NIP works to some extent. Yeah, a few data points, and yeah, analyzing how each player will be like how each player impacts your cost, speed, and also security. So I hope we're able to talk about that uh, as long as we have time. Anyway, so moving on. Yeah, card payments transaction flow. So what happens when you tap your card? What actually happens when you put your card um, inside that ATM or inside that POS, or what happens in those seconds? Can anybody just say something? I want to hear somebody. Just anybody, just say something.
Your data gets captured.
Fantastic. I mean, that's one of the things that happens. Anybody else?
You're prompted
So
to put a pin.
go ahead, please. Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, thank you, Tayo. You're prompted to put in to insert your pin.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that happen. But you see, all the things that you see happening on the front end, that is the interaction you have with it. you taking your card, you putting it, everything is just on the surface. A lot of things happen on the background, and they happen really, 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 really fast. And yeah, it's not magic, obviously. It's a high speed global conversations between institutions, different institutions, and they're the ones that make it happen, right? So who are the key players? I'm just going to mention them. I'm sure you've heard of issuer, acquirer, processor, gateway. We're going to be talking about them in depth, but I just wanted to highlight them here, right? And just talk about it very, very quickly so you get the idea of it, right? So we have the issuer, the person who gives you the card, like your bank, um, maybe GTB. You have a GTB account. They give you a card, right? That's the issuer. Whoever gives you the card is the issuer. Now we have the acquirer, which I'll go into later, who helps you collect funds. Like, for example, if you're a merchant and let's say you have a money point POS, the whole concept of money point as a business being able to help you to process not just your card payments, but to collect the money from your account. That's what the acquiring part is about. Acquiring merchants, going to the deepest part of Lagos to give people POS and being able to help them collect money, right? That's the acquiring, right? And then processor is that back end thing I said. This like basic stuff. I'll still talk about it more, but the back end miracles that happen is done by the processors, the one that connects the issuer to the acquirer, that connects the person who gives you the card to the person who has the POS, right? And then lastly, like it said, the gateway, it's like an aggregator of different payment channels. It's very simple, right? Yeah, let's just go into it. We'll talk more about it. But yeah, these are like the key things you should keep in mind. Okay, card issuer, merchant acquirer. Anytime you see issuer acquirer, whatever they put beside it, just ignore it. It's still the same concept. We have the payment processor, which I mentioned, payment gateway, and the payment terminal, obviously the actual POS. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so we're talking about the key players, the card issuer, right? The card issuer is the person like the GT, UBA bank who gives you the card, issues the cards to customers and merchants. Of course, merchants that have POS, they also have cards. It is possible for an institution to be an issuer and an acquirer at the same time, right? And yeah, this issuer authorizes transactions. It's the one that helps you to I'll explain that process of authorization later, but you get it. But yeah, the authorized transaction, and they provide funds or authenticate the card so that they can charge you. So yeah, they provide funds for purchase. Then the merchant acquirer, like I mentioned earlier, the guys that have the POS, the guys that help you to speak to the payment processor to know whether you have money and to know whether you are allowed to, if they are allowed to debit you. So they provide merchant accounts like Money Points, OPay. All these businesses have an account with them, and that's where the money goes whenever a customer goes to pay or goes to make buy something from their shop. So again, their job is to receive the funds when you make payments from your issuer, that's from your originating bank. Then we have the payment processor, and these are the guys that do the magic. We have Visa, Verve, MasterCard. These are like the popular payment processor. They are also called card scheme. They're also called card network. It's all the same, one and the same. So yeah, they are the ones that connect the issuer to the acquirers. They are the ones that facilitate authorization, authentication, and settlement, which I'll speak to in another slide. They also facilitate communication, and they set standards. That is, it's their standard that everyone who is in the payment space, operating card services, must follow. Those standards are the ones that they make available so that everybody, where no matter what bank you're coming from, whether you're coming from Jai's Bank or you're coming from some MFB that somebody issued cards on behalf of them or whatever, as long as you have the standard, yeah, the job of the payment processor is to make sure that they facilitate this standard so that payments can happen regardless of where you're coming from, what card you have. Then we have the payment gateway. I'm sure we've heard about payments gateway before. We talk about Paystack, Flutterwave, InterSwitch. Their job is to aggregate different payment channels, right? And I will speak about that in the slide that talks about what word will I use to explain this now? So this one is talking about accepting money from merchant acquiring, right? The idea is that there are multiple channels. So it's like when you want to make a payment, for example, then you go to a site and then they say, okay, check out with Paystack. Then you click Paystack, and then you have a host of multiple options to pay from. Like they tell you GT 737, which is USSD. They tell you pay with bank, that's transfer, NIP. They give you, maybe someone does a virtual account. They provide a virtual account. That's it. Paystack has a virtual account integration. Before, they used to have a virtual account integration, but now they have their own virtual account in partnership with Titan. So it's basically a place that has multiple other payment channels, not just one. And they also must have the same standards that I talked about. And that's why you can use your card to pay offline and online, right? Offline through your payment terminal, and online through your payment gateway. So this payment gateway is like a POS, if you can call it that. But this time the POS has multiple options, and it's online, and it can be opened, like you can open it on your phone, you can open it on your laptop, whatever, right? So I'm in contact with this at some point. Okay. So moving on, payment terminal, you already know. We see Money Points, POS, and OPay, and all of the other guys in the space. We see it everywhere. So these are the key players. Let's just go back again and look at it. Issuer, acquirer, payment processor, gateway, and terminal. Payment terminal, that's the POS. You see that it's very simple. There's no miracle about this thing. It's a very simple process, right? And this is what it looks like. So hi Tracy, is there a problem? Is it confusing? I don't know what your reaction is like is for, rather. But yeah, you can type in the chat if you want to say anything. I'm reading it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, this is a typical way it works, right? For you to have, let me use my mouse. Let me see. Let me go back to the page. Yeah. For you to just follow my cursor. For you to have a card, right, which is here, you have to go to the issuing bank, right? For you to pay, whether it's on a payment terminal or a payment gateway, right, you need to have a card, the card that has card details, of course, and I mean all the other things that cards have, right? So you can see that there's a link between this card and the card scheme, which is the processor, right? And the reason is because on each of the cards, you will notice that the card scheme has its logo on it. So on your card, sorry about the airplane noise. Let me just pause for 1 second or so. Sorry. When we were children, we say aeroplane or that, but there's a song we used to sing that. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, like I said, simple stuff. You know, on each of these cards, when the bank that issues it gives it to you, you see the logo of at least one of the card scheme. Again, this card schemes, they work together because they have it. So on your card, you have a MasterCard, you have Visa, you have Verve, if you're US, maybe American Express or whatever. It's still the same idea, still the same practical everything, right? So we're going to go from this side and we'll go from this side. But what you should know is that the card scheme or the payment processor is at the core of everything. Because before you can issue our card as an issuer, there are standards you must follow. And that's why the logo is on the card. There are payment standard. There's a payment standard, like we call it a PCI DSS. Right? It's a lot of cards that will be met so that people will not just take your card and withdraw your money just by having your cards, right? And also people can't hack the guys that are issuing cards for you and steal your money. So that's the whole purpose of the standard. I said I'm not going to put any technical deep anything here, just to make it very simple, right? So this same card scheme is connected to the acquiring bank that supplies the POSs, either the payment gateway or the payment terminal, right? Now, the way we have it in Nigeria is that all these things, people are not allowed to do everything. I don't know, how can I explain it? Like, yeah, there are different classes of licenses. And there are certain licenses that you have that would not allow you to be able to do some other things, right? For example, with Paystack, they are like, of course, the payment gateway, payment processor, in the sense that they have partnerships with the card schemes and the card networks and all. They have a specific license that helps them to operate. Paystack, Flutterwave, and all of that. And because of that and the rules, the way it was before, they are not allowed to hold customer funds. Their job is just to process the payment. So I just want you to know, I just wanted to mention that it's something you should put in your mind somewhere. And yeah, I don't know why that is. Maybe for security, extra added security, whatever. But the idea is that exists, right? So this acquiring bank or merchant acquirer, in the sense, would provide the payment terminal, and that terminal must also agree with the standard, right? Which is the card network standard. So this is how payments happen. You go to your POS, you put the money, you put your card rather, they give you how much you're supposed to pay, you enter your PIN. From the moment you enter your PIN, a lot of things happen. The acquiring bank will send a message through the card scheme to the issuing bank that, oh, okay, it gets to the card scheme first, that, okay, first of all, this card that this person is bringing, is it a valid card on any of the other card schemes? If it's a yes, okay, we pass that stage. We move on to the issuing bank, and then there are requests that are made to verify the identity of the person. Of course, all of this is encrypted, by the way. So of course, there's safety in terms of your details. So this card scheme will now ask your bank that, oh, does this person have the money can which person is the owner of this card in your own bank and with the account that they have in your bank. If the bank says yes, then that's where the process of authentication happens. So authorization is the process where you want to get validated that you are legit and you can take money. While authentication is where you actually get validated, and then once that happens, there's a message that is sent back to the POS, the acquiring bank rather, and then yeah, they debit you, right? And before I go on, you should know that all of this happens like within like 2 seconds or sometimes less. It's very, very fast. And that's the beauty of card payments. Yesterday I saw someone mention, yeah, on Twitter, yeah, it was the founder of Mono. He mentioned that right now card payments are still faster than bank transfers. And I'm sure he has data to prove that. But yeah, that's to tell you how fast these things happen. Authorization and verification. So I will go to the I will go back to the slide and talk about it. Don't worry, it's still in front, right? So yeah, that's how everything happens, and then they debit you, and you get value for what you are doing. But that's just on the surface. Now there has to be settlement, right? And that's the last step. And it's standard for every card payment, every card transaction, anything that has to do with payments. Settlement is a very integral part of it, right? I'll talk about that in the next slide anyway. So yeah, everything happens so fast, but the truth is that the money has not moved to the merchant yet. It sometimes takes like a day or up to 3 days for them to actually get. It's been done in a way that doesn't allow the merchants to suffer for too long. So if it depends on who the acquirer is and how much effort they are putting to make sure that settlement happens for them fast. But last I checked, it usually takes like a day. All right. So this is a summary of what I'm saying. Authorization, authentication, settlement. Any kind of payment, whatever it is, whether it is NIP bank transfer, whether it is a card transaction on a POS or a card transaction on the payment gateway, whatever it is, right? These are the 3 steps that must happen. Now, let me say it again. Authorization is the process of trying to get authentication, right? Authentication is validation. Authentication is that, yes, this thing is true, right? If it's not true, then it means you are not authenticated. Authorization is trying to, what authentication is getting the validation, right? So if they say a user is authenticated, it means that this user has been validated. And then settlement is now what happens after. Okay, after I've done all these serere on the top, have I gotten my money or have you gotten your money, right? Okay, so that's it. And it's the same concept in NIP. I'm going to also talk about that in NIP, right? So you said, what of acquirers that claim to do instant settlement? Well, look, I don't work for these guys right now. Whoever is doing it, they know how they are doing it, and there's a there are ways that you can. There are certain things you need to do to make sure that this thing happens really quick. For example, the backend for your payment terminals, how you build it, you know, the level of trust. There are many things really, but we're not going into that today, right? But that's it. If they say they do it, then I mean they do it. But the standard is at least a day, right? And I'm not even just talking about local transactions, because if it's local, it can be faster, but international transactions can take longer. But that's the settlement. We are talking about the settlement now, right? So, because of course, you've already gotten your money. Now, we're going to go into NIBSS, NIBSS payment engine, and yeah, how it works. Basically, it's a very, very, very simple stuff. People like to give hot takes on the timeline, and just talk about um, different things, because there's this discussion that pops up. People always asking, how is it that OPay is faster than other people when it comes to um, transfers, when we are all using the same NIP, right? And I'll talk about that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be talking about news NIP, news payments, instant payments, which, by the way, they are making an upgrade to it. It's this The NIP will be relegated, I think, this month, and they're going to NPS, which is much more efficient. I think it's still the same protocols, but there's just some slight adjustment. I will look into it. Yeah, NIP is the sixth largest real-time payment system in the world, ahead of the United States. Yes, ahead of the United States, and largest in terms of volume, right? Yeah, people always say, "Oh, we are ahead in Nigeria. We have the most advanced this thing." It's it's just talk, right? There are other guys that do it better and faster, but we are also good. We are okay, right? So I said it's the sixth largest because of this data here. Um, in 2021, the total volume was 272 trillion. That's in terms of the transaction, naira. 1 second. All right, sorry about the distraction. Yeah. So 272 trillion in 2021. You can imagine how big this is. Can someone help us do a quick conversion to dollars? If you do that, it would be at around it would be at around I think $600 billion, and that's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. How does it work, and how did it used to work before? Can someone just talk about this? If you have an idea, please. Okay, 185. That's billion, right? Yeah, it should be billion. Anyway, I mean, I didn't calculate it. I'm just estimating. So yeah, thanks Samuel for that. So can someone tell us how they think NIP works? Let's start with that. Anybody, please, just go ahead. Shoot.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Olawale. Please, can everybody hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Okay, so I think from a few study I've done, how NIBS work is that when you when you initiate a transfer with maybe your USSD or your mobile banking to another account. NIBS are they're like the middlemen in between that ensure like the payment goes immediately to the correct account that you want to send the money to, and then after they ensure your payment goes on first, and then afterwards they like settle with your bank, not because the money has moved from your account, but they just try to help you process your transfer very fast. Then afterwards they like settle with the other bank to actually send the money. So that's just the overview.
Yeah, Samuel, please go ahead.
Good morning. Okay, so I feel like it starts with authorization, like you mentioned earlier. The source bank has to validate some requests before confirming to, what NIBSS wants. Take for instance, like Lillian mentioned, if it's coming from your USSD channel, mobile app, or web payments, wherever channel is coming from, your source bank has to validate first and then push the request to the payment rail. Let's see this time around, NIBSS. After they've done their validation, like you have that kind of money in your account, there is no lien placed and all of that. They send over to NIBSS. NIBSS does their own authentication to confirm that the source bank validates this request, and then before they push to the destination bank. Like you said, settlement is not instant actually. Settlement comes a session after. NIBSS works with sessions. You know, if take for instance, this is 9:30 a.m. There's a session going on now. Any transfer you do now gets settled around 10 something o'clock. It is not actually 1 hour, 2 hours. Different sessions are different timeline. Take for instance, if I do a transfer from like anytime from 12 in the midnight to I think 5:59 a.m. They don't settle the bank until the next session, which is about 6 to 7 o'clock. So yes, that's how it works.
Fantastic. Let's give him three bossa. Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you. Sorry, who spoke before you? Lillian. Was it Lillian? I think it was Lillian. Not sure. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I think the first thing that I should have done was to talk about what NIBSS is, even though I know a lot of people know NIBSS, but like what they do. So NIBSS is like a central switch, if I can use the word. I don't like using the word switch because it sounds too like it sounds too, I don't know, it just sounds somehow. But basically their job is to be at the center of payments in this country. And we usually say it's a mission critical infrastructure, which means that if it collapses today, there's going to be problem. Yeah, you can say central hub. Central hub is not bad. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do it. The idea is that they function as a middleman. Whatever it is you want to do, they also set like any kind of payments. I'm sure a lot of us do not know that NIBSS, they are responsible for certifying, I say certificate, for certifying POS terminals. So they ensure that the standard. In fact, the they are a payment processor of the sort right now. Apart from the fact that yes, they have a card scheme, Afrigo, but they are a payment processor because the entire infrastructure of POS, the local POS in Nigeria is on the backbone of NIBSS. The entire bank to bank transfer, well, not the entire because of Quick Teller, sorry, because of InterSwitch, but the main one we use, which is NIP. I mean, it's on the backbone of NIBSS. NIBSS has a lot of APIs that they give out to help. Okay, I'll answer that question. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. So what did I say last?
You said NIBSS has a lot of APIs.
Yeah, fantastic. NIBSS has a lot of APIs that they give out to people, to other banks, other fintech. It depends on whatever it is that you're doing. Whether you are a whether you are a bank or you are a microfinance bank or you are a payment processor, there are lots and lots of tools, developer tools, which is why if you want to integrate with NIBSS, you have to first be certified by the CBN, have your license, and you can only work within the license and scope that you have paid for, So their job is to facilitate all of that. And yeah, it's not only NIP that can help you do transfers, by the way. There is InterSwitch. They also have payment transfer API, specifically transfer API. They also have other APIs. They have a card scheme. NIBSS has a card scheme as well. But yeah, that's the whole idea of NIBSS, right? So in terms of transfers, because we are talking about transfers today, how has it been done before and how is it done right now? So the traditional system in the past, both authorization and settlement is done together, which means authorization, authentication, and settlement, by the way. I didn't put that in there. So basically, you're not going to get your money until the other bank has actually gotten the money. Samuel mentioned that we have different sessions where settlement happens. So let's say you send the money by 6 a.m. and the next session for settlement is by, let's say, 2 o'clock. Or let's even say the next day or the next 3 days. You're not going to get your money until then. So you send the money on Monday and you're getting the money on a Wednesday, or maybe like the next day. What's going to happen? What if you have an emergency, And that's the traditional way it has always been working, the way it has worked in the past. But now the NIP system, the one that we currently have, sorry about the noise. So the reason why we are hearing all this noise is because I'm actually close to the airport and I was supposed to travel, but the timing, I had to make sure that I adjust it so that we can have this. I'm so sorry about the background noise, but it's okay. So yeah, now the NIP system that we have right now detaches authorization and settlement. But not only does it detach it in the sense that you get your money instantly, the settlement has also evolved to have like the sessions that Samuel talked about. So you don't have to wait 3 working days for you to get money. No shades to the people in the US, by the way. Anyway, all the best. So question, how do you categorize NIP in the card payment transaction flow? So let's just quickly go back to the flow I mentioned, card payment. Yeah. An NIP will be in the payment gateway section at the middle there. Why? Because it usually features in as an option in the payment gateway, right? But this is for the card flow, right? This is for the card flow. Then the next question is, when a user initiates a transaction, where does the request go to? The bank or NIBSS? We'll talk about that. It's in the other slides in front. So I think we can we can go on. So like I said, authorization and settlement is decoupled. Authorization, authentication is decoupled from settlement, right? And like I said, not only are you going to get the money instantly or be able to use the money instantly, but the person who you are paying or who you are transferring to will get the money instantly as well. Now it's at the back where you can now have the sessions for settlement, right? So let's move on. So this is basically a visual hierarchy of what actually happens. Let me check the time. Okay, we're not we're still on track. So yeah, NIBSS has lots of APIs, like I mentioned. I'm sure we know what APIs are, right? APIs are very crucial to messaging. It's like a way that two different systems or two different computers in two different parts of the world can communicate with each other on a deep level, on a code level, right? Let me use that word. And yeah, it's a standard. There's a set of standards for communicating, and it's been established, right? And it's vital because it helps two computers, two people, two systems to talk to each other, to send requests and to get requests. That's communication, basically. And it is very, very fundamental and foundational to the NIP system because newsflash, NIP is just a messaging system. When you send money, money does not actually move, right? I'll talk about that in the next slide, right? So, but this is a visual hierarchy of how it works. Each bank has a monetary position with NIBSS. That is, how can I say this? In this messaging system, each in terms of volume, I spoke about volume in the last slide here, 272 trillion. That's huge, right? That's huge. So each institution has a volume that they can do. The moment you get to that volume, because as you're sending a request, or send this to this person, pay this to this person, there's a plus and minus happening. It's like a ledger, right? And when your ledger has gotten to a particular volume, there are systems we have in place at NIBSS that will shut you off or shut it down. And it's just for security, to be honest. And that's where you have issues where you say, oh, you're trying to send money to someone and it's not working. Oh, by the way, it's also different from when there's a problem at NIBSS. Yeah. So this one is just a safety measure. So everyone has a monetary position with NIBSS. And that monetary position is important because of settlement. Because how are you going to settle? How are you as a money point? How are you as a money point person or institution? How are you as money point as an institution better than like a Zenith, right? Or maybe let me rephrase. Moneypoint does not have the same what do you call this thing I mentioned. Moneypoint does not have the same remember license. Yeah, Moneypoint does not have the same license as Zenith, which means that even though all of them are on NIP, there's a limit of volume that they can do, right? MFBs don't have the same volume as all the banks. And all the banks too, they have their different tiers and all of that. But like the idea is that the monetary position is to keep things in check so that there's not going to be a problem later. If I can use that word, I will explain that later anyway. So you also have account validation, which is the authentication that I talked about. That's when you validate something. And then we have transaction query, which is to check if the person actually has money. So let me start again. APIs, messaging, monetary position with NIBSS, account validation. That's to show that this account is a real account with this bank. Then transaction query is to show that this person actually has the money that we can debit. And then we have the credit debit instruction if it passes this this step. And then once the debit instruction is given, you get the SMS or you get the notification from your bank. And when you get a credit, you get the notification from your bank. So the GNS at GTB, for example, their notification service is tied to what they built, so that it's tied to their implementation with NIBSS, so that once they get a credit instruction, they've done an automation that also notifies you as the customer. Yeah, that as a customer, that's, sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Let me stop. So yeah, I mean that the money has entered your account. You get, so it's tied together, and then end of day settlement, which of course it's in sessions. Do you understand? So that's just the visual hierarchy. So let's go into it. This is what it looks like, right? Let me look at the questions. Yeah. Okay. Our API is only associated with fintech, seeing that it's a communication system between two computers. No, it's not only fintech. It's not only fintech. When I was at Reliance, they built a system that can help you talk to, that can help hospitals authorize, sorry, hospitals authenticate people who have HMOs. You do that with APIs, right? Anything that has to do with a system and another system somewhere else over the internet. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the internet, it can be intranet. You can create APIs in between the same system that two people in the same organization, in the same network, can talk to one another, right? So it's not only for fintech. We mainly use it in fintech because there are lots of requests. You understand? When these fintech companies are bragging about their doings, what do they talk about? Oh, we've done so and so volume. Oh, we've done, we hit this. It's a lot of requests, and it has to be secure. So you can't just be sending requests just like that. Like, it has to be structured, it has to be secure, so people don't lose money, right? And yeah, I think that's clear, right? It's very fundamental. Yeah. Can TSQ also be authorization? Yeah, I think I just talked about that. Transaction query. Let me just talk about the payment flow anyway. So as you can see, NIBSS is at the center of it with their APIs, different services, things you don't even know about. Like, there's direct debit. I think everybody knows that, which with their partnership with Paystack and I think some other organizations. There is, and it also uses, that is also part of the APIs that they have. There's GSI, that's for people who, like, the big debtors, the people who are like owing big money. It's like a way for you to debit them if they have any money in any account. There are other tools like that. There's only guys that are really doing much of that work that would deep dive into it. So, but yeah, NIBSS is at the center of it. 1 second. All right, great. So NIBSS is at the center of it with all their APIs. For NIP, we have the sending bank on the left and we have the receiving bank on the right. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, right? The sending bank sends an electronic message. Like I said, it's not money that is moving. It is a message that is moving. It's instruction that is moving. And when this happens, what's the first thing that happens is account validation. Okay, Funke at the sending bank A wants to send to sending bank B, and then Funke supplies the account number and the bank. The first check is to make sure that the receiver account is legit, like it's a real account, and that's where you see they call that API name inquiry, right? So that's where the name of the person who owns the account will pop up. And then that's when you are sure that this is the person we are sending money to, right? Then what happens after that is NIBSS also does a transaction query to the receiving bank to know whether, okay, oh, this person has the money and we can debit it. Once you get a green light, there's a message that is sent back. If it's a true, which is yes, it's going to authenticate and send a debit instruction back to the sending bank and a credit instruction through this NIBSS API to the receiving bank. And that's where the two of them get, one will get debit, one will get credit. It's very simple. Like, it's not as complex as a lot of people make it to be, right? Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's like messaging. It's what's like sending WhatsApp messages, but it's just that it's structured, right? There are certain, if you read the API documentation, you see they will list the kind of responses, they'll list the requests that you can make, right? And a couple of other things, right? But this is like fundamental stuff. And then you see these guys, the sending back, receiving bank, there's debit and there's credit. Everybody is happy. Our account is reading this amount and the other person has been debited. Everyone is happy. Then we can now have settlement later. Oh, someone said something. Oh, 58. Okay. Fred, do you want to quickly say something?
Yeah, I want to confirm this end of day settlement. Is there like an overarching end of day settlement that takes into account all of the sessions that happen, you know, in each day? Is that what the end of day settlement means?
Well, so for settlement to happen, sorry, someone speaking. No, 1 second, sorry, another flight.
Please go ahead. The noises from your background is not getting to the meeting
Really?
actually. I thought I should
Oh,
mention.
okay, cool. So, yeah, the settlement happens. Can you come again with your question, Fred? Just quickly. Is there an overarching, what did you say, Fred?
Yeah, so is there an overarching end of day settlement that takes into account all of these different sessions? Because you mentioned if you do make a payment, or if a payment is is triggered, let's say by 6 a.m., it doesn't necessarily mean that it happens immediately, right? There could be a session that happens hours later, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, does this end of day settlement mean that it takes into account all of these sessions, like a ledger
Okay. No,
that totals
so
everything?
no, so the way the settlement works, like, it depends on how uh, how frequent you upload the reports. That's what the guys at what's their name do. The guys in operations, right? That's their job. So they will be the one to say, okay, oh, for settlement, this is when we want to upload. I just put EOD settlement there as just for settlement. It's like there are different sessions, right? Like Sam said, right? It's just for you to upload the reports and it's done. There's also a there's also a ledger as well on NIBSS end, right? So the reason for uploading reports really is around when there are issues with, maybe someone said they sent money and they did not receive it. It's this report that can help people to actually get back the money while they temporarily pay you. But for settlements, it's look at it. Okay, someone posted it here. Right. Great. Thanks, Samuel. Do you get? So there are different sessions, but it's good for you to upload to also have your own copy in-house. So if there's an issue with someone that didn't get money, you can be able to fight for it to get it back, basically. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question. I hope I did, but maybe I didn't quite understand you, Fred. So let me just move on. Let me see. Any question here? What's the difference between fund transfer and transaction query? Fund transfer, transaction query. I mean, like it implies, fund transfer is when you're trying to send money. Transaction query is one of the steps that you have to. I will not say. I won't use the word have to. But like it's one of the steps that you take when you are trying to process a transfer. So that's the difference. For monetary position, if I have 100 million with NIBSS as a deposit for transaction settlement, if my transactions reach a certain threshold, NIBSS will stop your transaction and your customer payments will suffer. Yes, 100%. That's correct. That's correct. So yeah, let's move on. Yeah, Samuel, you can help explain further if yeah. So yeah, that's it. It's very simple. You send a message through NIBSS API to the other bank. As you send the message, validations happen, some queries happen. And this is just like basic stuff. There are other things, but this is the basic stuff, right? So let's move on. What I want to do is to let me see our time. Okay. I want to share my screen. There's this just to make a recap of all the things that I've said. There's this mind map that I have done by getting a lot of sources. I would also share that so that I'll make the notebook public so that we can look into it as well. All right, so let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I'll make this book public so yeah. So yeah, for electronic payment processing, cards and transfers, these are the things that we'll talk about, right? We've talked about rather for card payments. We talked about the card holder who is the customer, right? The merchant who is the business, the issuing bank that gives the card, the acquiring bank, that's the merchant bank that also gives the POS, card network payment processors, which are pretty much the same thing, payment gateway, which I talked about, Paystack and all of that, and the payment terminal, that's the POS. Okay. Yeah, card payment transaction flow, authorization, trying to check if you have funds and if you are legit, validation, authentication, which is the reverse. That's after verifying and validating, it goes back to send a message back, and the settlement, right? Then, yeah, NIP, feature alternative to card. You can check this in like your later time, and it's self-explanatory. Yeah. So in this one, let me see. Yeah, like I said, he explains what each one does. So I'll share it with Esther, and then yeah, you can reach out to her and we can make it understanding it's much more easier. Okay. So yeah, moving forward, the cost of convenience. When you are making all these payments and all of that, best believe the guys who are behind it have put their own cut into it, right? I'm not going to be sending I'm going to be sending anything for free. There's nobody does anything for free. If anybody comes to tell you, oh, now we accept cards, or now we are giving POS, or now we are doing this, there's always going to be charges on the back end for using those services. Nobody does anything for free. If they are doing it for free, then there's something else. Maybe it's MMM or something. I don't know that they are doing. But yeah, there's a cost to it. And talking about cost, we're not going to deep dive into it because I don't really want us to spend too much time. I don't want to miss my, yeah. Basically, for a card process, for example, um, let's say it's 100 naira, right? This is what happens. And mind you, there's some of these charges that you don't exactly, it's later you get to know. Um, Especially if you're a merchant, right? It's either they do it immediately and then they charge you, and then you see that, oh, okay, this money you're getting is not complete, it's not the full money, right? Because you choosing to do POS, you know the risk. So that's why they add money on it, right? For example, you're doing 100 naira, right? For card transaction. This is what it typically looks like. And I'm not just talking about like POS transaction. I'm talking about like international card payments transaction. Let's say that's what we're talking about. This is what it typically looks like, right? The merchant eventually receives 98 naira. The acquirer takes his cut, right? The card network fee, that's the payment processor, they take their own cuts. And then the issuer also takes their cuts. And while they are taking their cuts, um, you too, you can take your cut. Don't dull, right? But I mean, if you sign an agreement with a merchant who gives you POS, right? They will tell you how much they are taking. They will also tell you how much. I mean, I don't know if they'll tell you how much you charge, but yeah, you add your own. You do what everybody's doing, and make some money out of it, and all of that. So, but yeah, this is what it typically looks like for card transactions that are online. And then there's also the way it's done for card transactions that are local, because we are local here. We have our own, and we do our own things in our own way, right? So yeah, that's it. Each player, acquirer, issuer, and network takes a cut, right? And yeah, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. So future of payments, faster payments, of course. I don't see any other thing special to be built, to be honest. Contactless. I think we do less of contactless today. Um, yeah, less of contactless. I tweeted a video of me trying to do contactless, but they still ask me for my PIN. So is it contactless if I still have to, touch the POS? I don't know. I mean, all the cards are enabled for contactless, right? You see that sign there. But yeah, we just like transfers, right? Even the POSs have been certified for contactless, but you know, it's just something we've not adopted here. So maybe whoever is building anything, maybe we should try and work towards integrating with maybe an Apple Pay or something to facilitate contactless payments, or something down the line in the roadmap. But yeah, that's it. I think we have come to the end. Let me see if I can answer a couple of questions, and we can move. Yeah. Any question? Anybody have any question? Okay. Is there a licensed and approved alternative to NIBSS right now? Of course, yes. I mean, depends on what you want to do. If it's for transfers, because there are other people that do what NIBSS does. Transfers, uh, InterSwitch does transfers. They have transfer API. But some people combine both. So it's such in a way that if one fails, they fail over to the other one. Maybe like everybody's shouting, oh, NIBSS is down, NIBSS is down. But some people are able to still transfer because on the back end, they integrated to InterSwitch as well. So it's just like a failover. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by alternatives, but yeah, there are other people that does what that do what NIBSS does. Is it safer to say settlement is at the end of session 1 than session 2? Look, you can call it, any time you want, call it any way you want, to be honest. There are different sessions, and settlement can happen at any of those sessions. Make your choice, and yeah, I don't know. Joshua, you want to say something?
Yes, I have a question, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. My question is regarding the part where you were explaining how transfer works. So you said when the sender initiates a transfer on their mobile app, right? That's what is actually being sent is an electronic transfer. Is an electronic instruction, I mean to say, that is going to go to NIBSS, where they will then do a validation to confirm if that sender account is funded. And if it is, the sending bank is going to receive a debit instruction, while the receiving bank is going to receive a credit instruction. So when I think of it, so what I want to confirm at this point is, for NIBSS that is processing this payment, is it that they have more like a central database that all the banks are connected to? So that's when these electronic transfers and when the debit and credit instructions are being sent here and there, they feed those information to the bank so that they can use to update their system.
Yep, that's it. I mean, there's a documentation of how it works, right? And every bank, every financial institution that is licensed with CBN, before you can send money, you must have integrated with NIBSS transfer API, which is NIP, right? And when you sign up, each institution has their institution code, right? So if maybe a developer at NIBSS, like back then when I was there, if there's an issue with a particular bank, if they want to check the logs, they will not start looking for, oh, maybe it's GTB or this, and there's a code. They look at the code and they look at everything is in the code. They look at it and they try to figure out what's going on. So everyone is registered, everyone gets an institution code. And it's what makes it very, 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 very effective. The fact that it's well documented down to the messages, what each message stands for, what each code stands for, the response and request format. Do you understand? So it's for those that, of course, are writing the code and all of that. They know what it means by reading the documentation. But what's fundamental is that everyone is connected. Everyone who wants to be able to send money from your institution. Maybe you opened your MFB today and you want to send money. You have your license. Or maybe you don't even have a license and you want to partner with someone that has a license, so you're a fintech. The long and short is that whatever institution that is, it must have signed, must have integrated with NIBSS API for payments. That's for transfers, NIP. So that's what gives you the right to be able to do it. Yeah. I hope I answered in an okay way.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
All right, cool. Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. Hi, Gabriel.
Hi. Olawale, thank you so much for this session. We appreciate your time and detail with explanation. So my question is, so for a fintech, for example, now fintechs now likely are not allowed to maybe create direct accounts with the CBN, and maybe they have to use like a settlement bank or something like that. I'm still pretty fuzzy of how that would look like in terms of like transfers and stuff like that. Like would it, like what settlement would look like basically for a fintech who doesn't have an account directly with the CBN, but then is using maybe a commercial bank as their settlement bank. Like what does it look like in that case?
Okay, so maybe I don't get you well. What do you mean by a settlement bank? Do you mean the bank that they're leveraging the license to operate as a
Yes.
fintech? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so there are guys that are in fintech that all they do is give APIs, just like the way NIBSS does on some level. I mean, NIBSS does other things, but there are some guys that they give special APIs for special kind of services. Before you can operate as a fintech on that level of holding money, you need someone who has a license, right? And of course, the license they've already integrated with NIBSS for them to be able to make transfers. So what would have to happen is that you would be leveraging their, for example, let's say their wallet APIs. So everything is still happening on that bank's name. You don't have to worry yourself. You will just be like a customer to them. You probably just be like one of the customers they have that has like huge amount of money with them. Do you understand? You continue your operations. They give you wallets, virtual accounts, So maybe like, for example, a child deck. Their level child deck cannot hold money. They don't have license. If they try it, there's a problem. There's somebody on the back end, right? But child deck is not a business that does transfers. It's a food business. If you want to be able to do transfers, man, go and get your license. That's the long and short of it, right? Or you be in partnership, or you buy one of these failing MFBs and then use their license. But yeah, even if you do that partnership, is the name of the institution that has the license that will be showing on the list of institutions on NIP. So yeah, that's what it is.
All right, thank you. That answers my question.
Cool. Any other question? Okay. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for the session. That was very insightful. I got to learn some new things. So I have a question. My question is a bit of the topic, but still kind of in line. So first is let me just do a little context. I'm just starting out in fintech. I did product management recently, and I've been trying to go into tech totally. I've been in sales and marketing for a long time, but I'm trying to go into tech. So I decided to go for technical writing and product management. Now, my question is, from your own experience, from what the industry is like, how does one get into, like, how do you get the chance to start working for a fintech company? What is your advice? Because I've tried creating roadmap for myself using AI, like so that I can work on personal projects. I already have a little portfolio and all that. But then I know the part of mentorship and the part of somebody actually telling you what to do and give you feedback. So, and I know that age is a subtle factor too in recruiting process. So how do you balance that when you know you are maybe above 30 and you're just going into tech and you don't really have an idea? How do you get a job in tech and eventually get started so that you get to have some practical and experience?
Cool. Yeah, and it's a question that a lot of people have. I also used to have the the same thing before I joined in. Um, although I wasn't exactly focused on trying to work for a fintech, I just wanted a job. I just wanted to do something, right? I just wanted a job. And at the time, I think I was looking at something that was much more forward looking, something that maybe hasn't clicked in this side of the country because there's always going to be that type of technology. So, whether it's technology or an idea or a way of working or whatever. So that, I mean, my own advice to you would be to look at, don't focus on trying to work for a fintech. There are too many people in fintech. Don't try like, I mean, if you want to, it doesn't mean you can't, you can't desire to do it, right? You can, but don't make it don't make it be about fintech, but about the value that you are bringing in, right? And again, it's not only fintech that I worked at. I worked at health tech at a health tech company, for example. In fact, two. So, you know, um, I've also noticed that to some extent, the knowledge that you have or the experience you have in fintech can also limit you. Like when you're trying to get something else outside that, right? But if you really do want to work for a fintech company, then connect with people who are working in fintech and look for opportunities. That's it. I'm not going to say there's a magic. Keep developing yourself, and one day you just get one opportunity. Be honest, there's no there's no very clear path to it other than just trying your best and grinding every day, and till you get that opportunity. The truth is, you only just need a foot in the door. If what you're looking for is fintech, maybe you can start with maybe an internship, and from there graduate to other things. And a lot of people I know have that kind of story too. So look for internships. At some point, I even wanted to work for free if I did. I just wanted to be able to go out of my house and come back. Anyway, yeah, I hear you. That's what I would say. Keep grinding, keep pushing, keep improving yourself, look for opportunities. All these conferences, moonshot, all these things that they do, always go there. Like, you see how it works. Before you know what's going on, you know so many people in fintech. Before you know what's going on, one of them is like, are you free for this opportunity? I'm telling you, that's how it works. So yeah, it's a combination of all of those things, and I hope that it really does work out well. Yeah, I think Esther will share the slides. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Olawale. Thank you so much for this presentation. It was really great. So I have a quick question. So I am based in Nairobi, in Kenya. So I
Okay.
just began, how do I call it? A coaching program for personal finance. So basically creating awareness, educating people
Okay.
on how best to manage their finances, as well as how they can start investing in Kenya. So for now, I am receiving my payments through mobile money. I'm not sure if you're familiar with M-Pesa. That's what we use here.
Yeah.
So I use my personal number for that because I've just started out. But
Yeah.
I've really been thinking about how I can professionalize that part of my program. And I've been fishing around looking at Paystack, Seller, and I was wondering if you can weigh down on what I can start with, thinking of the fact that I'm just starting out. I'm going to have maybe less than 20 clients to begin with, and then later on scale out. So I'm thinking of something I can use immediately that can integrate M-Pesa or mobile money and also card payments, and that the fees are not so high. As I mentioned, it's just the beginning of the program. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So basically, the issue is that the problem you want to solve is to be able to also get money or get people to pay from maybe like in Nigeria, for example. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
like from all over. Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly East Africa to begin with, Kenya, South Sudan, because my target group are my people from back home in South Sudan, because I'm South Sudanese. But
Okay.
I've already noticed that there are also some Kenyan clients that want me to assist them with their personal finance.
Did
So
you did you
let's
speak?
start with East Africa.
Cool,
Sorry?
cool, cool. Did you speak with Paystack?
No, not yet. I'm just
Yeah.
literally doing research online. Yeah.
Please do. Um, everybody is. I mean, for the past 3 years, at least that I know, everybody has been trying to expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to ask anyone, you should ask the guys that process payment, the guys that have payment gateway, Flutterwave,
Mm-hmm.
um, Paystack. I don't know what's on the gateway. It's been a while. I've had to pay with the payment gateway. Um, they will give you the best way to do because some of them already have integrations with M-Pesa, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check that. I'm not very sure. But
Yeah,
if
they
they
do.
do, they do,
Mm,
they do, you don't
yeah,
have a
yeah.
problem. All
Okay,
you have to do is reach out to them, then they will give you a special, I think you create an account with them.
okay,
Uh, that's interesting. But it means you have to have someone who is also in Nigeria or who is in whatever country to help you to be able to receive the money. Do you understand? I don't know if you get what I mean.
okay.
Yeah. I don't know what
Uh-huh.
I don't know what their operation is like over there, to
Mm.
be very honest with you. Yes, Paystack is in Kenya, right? Cool.
Yes, yes,
So
there. Yeah.
it means they already have an M-Pesa. I'm very sure to be on their gateway,
Mm,
at least for people
mm,
in Kenya. So you can add it to your website,
mm.
sign up with them.
I don't yet have a website. Sorry. Yes, I don't yet have a website. So I have a Canva, with my products on it.
Basically, if somebody clicks on your Canva,
Mm-hmm,
it will show somebody anywhere in the world, right?
mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Then you have a website. Because it might not be
Yes, the
might not
fancy.
be yeah, then you have a website. It's okay,
Yeah.
right? So
All
they'll
right.
show you how to integrate and then you can receive payment from anywhere. Yeah, it's been a while I looked into their operations and all, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Yep. Hi Lillian. I think this will be the last one before I go because
All right.
I have
Thank you. Thank you so
thanks,
much.
Lily. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Olawale. So, just like the last person before Julie spoke, I don't know if it was Julie saying he is an entry level product manager and then he like is interested in fintech. The same thing with me too. I am really interested in fintech, the whole thing about payment processing and all of that. But then I'm not boxing myself in generally into fintech or I've been
Yeah.
curious about it, so I am opting for like I'm trying to build a product, a fintech product, yes, because I feel like it's going to be a way to like help me understand better. Of course, I'm getting help from other people like who are more fintech kind of who understand fintech more, but I just wanted to like get your like advice on like how I can that will be able to help me. Like I said, I'm trying to build like a fintech product to help me understand fintech better. So I want to like get any advice or
All right.
recommendations from you or any of that. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. That's fine. Thanks for saying that. I mean, we all want to improve ourselves, right? And get more knowledge. You can always reach out, schedule a call if you have some questions. But I wanted to say that this is Treford that's hosting this. They have cool courses. You sign up for their courses, you know, um, get more knowledge, get more experience by having your own personal projects. I personally started as a product manager, but I didn't like it. Um, but that's just me, right? So I did something else. Um, if you love this and you're truly sure that you do, then I can share resources with you. I can share resources with you. Also, I would say you should also try to get internships as well, or like a foot in the door. It's the same thing, I would say, to be honest. But yeah, you can reach out to me if you have a question, if you there's some parts that you want to understand, you know. But yeah, get certifications. They always help. If you're looking for your next opportunity or next in your career or whatever, you know, try get certifications and just keep pushing. There's no there's no rule book to it. I'm not going to lie to you, you know. There's no rule book to it. Just keep pushing, keep showing up, and I'm sure you get what you're looking for in no time. It used to take some time, but you get it. So it's not a big deal. So yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, I'll reach out to you
no problem.
on
My
LinkedIn. Thank you so
I think
much.
my LinkedIn is on the post. Big shout out to Treford. Um, it's a big opportunity, good privilege to do this, and hopefully we can do more of this some other time. Maybe some other aspect, but yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you everyone for listening, and yeah, let's keep the fire burning. Over to you, Treford.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wari, for such an insightful session. Very, very insightful session. I want to believe we've learned a lot based on the feedback we've gotten so far. And then, yeah, this event was actually brought to us in partnership with BIF. I mentioned it at the beginning of this course. So I'm going to be posting a quiz to know those that are actually listening and those who actually know what BIF is. Yeah, so at the end of every of our session, we always take feedback. And then talking of courses, we are also posting, we are launching our first fintech product management courses. So you would want to also be a part of this, and then we are launching October 25th. You might just go to Treford.Africa. I will just show you them. Only you might just want to stop sharing so that I would want to take our viewers on the offerings we have in a bit. So yes, we'll be launching our fintech product. So what you just have to do is go to Treford.Africa. You come to live sessions, as you can see here. When you scroll down, you will see fintech product management, just a 12 weeks courses, and then it starts October 25. If you enroll now, you might want to take a look at the brochure we are looking at. Payment gateway is actually one of the things that we are also looking at for the session that we are looking to fintech. I mean, it's a robust curriculum we have there. You might want to take a look at. You might want to take a look at what we have for you. I don't know. It's taking a my 9th of it's taking a while to load, but you might just want to do that at your free time. Just go to Treford Africa and then click on live sessions. Take a look at the brochure we have, a 10 to 12 weeks class, what you will learn: global payment system and infrastructure, the core hubs from plastic to pixels, wallet, and stored value system, licensing and regulatory strategy, digital identity, whatever questions you might have, all the questions you are posting to Wally at this moment. Now you have the time to sit down with the facilitator that will be coming on board to actually have a one-on-one session with them, ask questions that are bothering you or as regards your career path. You might want to ask this question. And we have fantastic facilitators on board, all the way from Flutterwave. Then we have people who have experience that will be coming on board for this session. As you can see, there is a pop-up for you to request brochure, which is free. So you might want to request brochure, just go through it, and then I would encourage you to register for this particular session. You might want to just take that step right now. Treford.Africa, go to live sessions, click on fintech product management, then enroll now. Take a look at the brochure to see what we have for you. Then you can take a look at the profile of our facilitators. Wonderful people like Olawale will be coming on board. We have We have Motayo from Flota Wave. We have any when coming on board. Wonderful, wonderful people. So yeah, we'll be taking our feedback in a bit. Just how you rate the session with Olawale. What are your key takeaways from this session, and what do you advise we improve on? These are major questions we used to ask at the end of every of our session. What are your key takeaways from the session? What do you advise we improve on? Okay, then I also mentioned that we'll be having a quiz. I want to ask, especially for those who came through BIF, what exactly is the form in your PIF? They are partners for us to have this platform is in partnership with BIF. So kindly you might just want to tell us what's the form of BIF? Have you heard of BIF? Words oh, awesome. Builders in Fintech. Thank you, Antonio. For those who didn't come early, you probably might have missed that. Builders in Fintech, our partner is currently launching our Fintech product management, and then we're having this platform. Shout out to Builders in Fintech. It's actually a very wonderful opportunity to have this. So please go to the link that I dropped and then just share your feedback. What are your key takeaways from this session? I mean, do you want Treford to do more of this? What do you advise to improve on, and how will you rate the session? Let's do that real quick. The poll is already on. Let's just do that real quick. I'll be sharing my screen so that you see what I am saying. All right. So how will you rate the session? What are your key takeaways from this session, and what do you advise to improve on? Let's do that real quick. And then we'll call it a session. If you are not appending your vote, please do well to append your vote. Just click the link that I shared in the comment section. Then tell us how you rate the session. What are your key takeaways from this session, and what do you advise to improve on? Let's do that in the next 2 minutes, and then we'll call this session. We'll just put a wrap to this session. What you've learned so far, you can just put it there in just simple sentence, and what do you advise to improve on? Just 2 minutes to do this. 2 minutes to do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then yeah, we'll have a wonderful weekend to ourselves. Oh, and yes, in case you want to watch the replay of this, it's actually live on YouTube as I speak. If you go to Treford's channel, you'll see this particular event, Simplifying Payment Gateway. You see it on our YouTube channel. And in case you want a copy of the slides, you can just respond to the post email we always send to all our participants that you need or you're requesting for a slide of this particular session, and we'll do well to answer to that. So yeah, just go to the link that I shared. What are key takeaway from this session? What do you advise to improve on? Let's do that real quick. 3 people are responding, 2 people are responding. I need more people to respond to this. Your feedback actually is to shape Treford's event so far. Just do well to give your feedback, and then of course would do well to initiate that, to do well to implement that in our subsequent sessions. Not to take much of our time, I'll be sharing the ones we have here. Hopefully others are going to, oh, 4.7, awesome, 4.8 now. Please, if you are not doing this, if you are not responding, please do well to respond. If you don't have the link, I have shared the link again. Just go to the click on the link, and then you see a poll pop up, and then yeah, you respond to it. What are your key takeaways? Bank transfers are processed as an electronic messaging backend. I learned better on my job for now. Each role settlement and NIP transfers work. Awesome. So if you can learn this much in this kind of events, not to not talk of an extensive event, I look forward to seeing us in our fintech product that is coming up October 25th. Just do well to go to Treford.Africa and then register for this session. You are satisfied with the service. Also, thank you for sharing. Please, you can do well to still respond to this. We take your feedback very, very important to us. Okay, the role of payment in fintech, role of NIP, the power of NIP, the channels and feature of payments. We'll go extensively into this in our product, in our fintech product management. Just do what you register. Very, very, very important. There are a lot of processes that go in the back and prior to any successful payments. Exactly. 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 All right. Thanks so much for sharing. We appreciate your coming around. Shout out, great, wonderful, big shout outs to our partners, builders in fintech for this opportunity for us to partner with them. We hope to do this more. We hope to extend our tentacles for professionals that do need this, and for us to for us to be our partner in their career journey, for us to also be able to address in-demand skills that we need in our industry. So yeah, this is what we have for us today. Do well to register, do well to subscribe to our Luma page so that you can see forthcoming events and from us, from Treford, from our partners, just PIF. And then yes, ready to serve you any day, anytime. For now, have a wonderful weekend. And then yes, do well to reach out whenever you need us. Bye for now.
Right? The metal short cut so we leverage the short cut guide user for so that is